Good afternoon, everybody. It's time for some more drawing. Start with our shapes like we always do. Get nice and warmed up. I always like circles to get started with because they're the hardest for me. Yeah, so we're just making circles, trying to get them as close to round as possible. Work out the kinks in the arm. Great. And we'll do 4 columns of each shape. Let's move on to squares. For the squares, I'm trying to get both straight lines, and for the last line to match up with the start of my first line. So it's still drawing a shape, but a different exercise. Now let's take time to scratch. Scratch, 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 scratch. There we go. Last column. When I go faster, they tend to be worse, so I'm going to try slowing down. Alright, time for triangles. So this one's close to square, but working your hand to do different angles that you may not be used to. And if your hand feels tired, go ahead and give it a little stretch. Yeah, drawing shouldn't hurt, so. I think I'm holding my pencil too tightly. My brain thinks, hold it tighter. That's how you control it. But I don't need to. I can hold it lighter and still control it. Last 2 columns. Yeah, I find if I start drawing without doing warm-ups, it just doesn't work nearly as well. It's much more frustrating. So spend a little time to warm up, loosen up, then we get a better drawing. All right. So today we're going to combine shapes and make an underwater ocean base. So we're going to need building blocks, and then the drawing is going to come to life by using those building blocks in interesting ways. Nice. I'm glad you're feeling warmed up, Kimberly. It's a good feeling. So I'm primarily going to use rectangles, spheres, and cylinders. And we'll build our station out of these three pieces. And then once it's built, then we can add in details that use other shapes. So we'll start with the middle. Big rectangle. There we go. I'm not going to put the ground in yet because I don't know what the station will look like. So we got this guy. And we're going to pretend that the station's made entirely out of glass so we can see through it. There we go. And that means we can see on the other side. Making these lines more faint so it's easy to see the side that's close to us versus the side that's far away from us. Otherwise I could get confused. Alright, so we got that. And let's go ahead and make a cylinder up. I'll put this here, make it pretty big. And then on top of that cylinder, we'll put a sphere. There we go. We'll put in the rest of the cylinder there. Yeah, let's get that high up. Let's see. Put another rectangle here. Extend out this way. Oops. It's a little too steep. So erase that guy. I want this line to match this line so it looks like they line up correctly. So we'll just draw that out here. Close that. There we go. Yeah. It doesn't have to be perfect. For perfect, we'd pull out a ruler and carefully measure, but we're just having a fun time and using shapes to build a submarine station. I don't know, whatever kind of science place goes under the water. So we got that one there, and we're gonna get a little fancy. So this one's gonna be connected to this one, so we'll put its flat side here. For this one, we're going to combine a cylinder and then partway transition to a rectangle. So this top part is going to be rounded like your cylinders. I'll draw it here. And then at this point, we're going to stretch it down into a rectangle. Make sure this matches up. There we go. This one too. There we go. Need a little building there. Put a cylinder here. Get to a nice big sphere. Let's have these spheres connect. We can make it look all cool by bending our cylinders. So I'm gonna have this tube come back this way, and then turn. And we'll put the connector here. Bring this out. There you go. Draw these little. By drawing these little circles, you can see each segment of cylinder, and we just make little elbows to connect them. Oops, gotta finish that one. There we go. Oops, made this one too small. Okay. Time for stretch. Too much tight grasping. And we're back. So this one here, and this one here. There we go. All right, so now it's taken shape. Let's go ahead and add another building back here. So and a nice big building back here. Yeah, we'll just make those lines lighter. There we go. And we'll make this one more of a sharp building. Maybe it's the reactor or the power plant. So it'll be made of a triangle for this peak part. And then I want to make it a little more interesting too. So I'm going to have another triangle come off this side. There we go. We'll put little rectangles on here, make it look more interesting. There. Now I'll finish that line. Yeah, this is turning out nicely. We gotta have the little reactor bins back here. So those are gonna be cylinders, but we'll play a little bit with them. I'm gonna give them a lip, so have a small one on the inside be the cylinder hole, and then have a larger one on the outside. We'll just put some lines in here, show the difference. this out into a base. Nice. So we've got a few buildings. Now we can start to add in kind of the ground that it's sitting on. And put some rocks over here. And have those trail off to the side. Some more rocks over here. Put little rectangular feet to rest on. And some like mountain here. We'll layer some of that so it doesn't look super flat. And let's go ahead and add a little perimeter, a little clearing. And every submarine base has to have a place for the submarines to dock, so that'll be our next building. Let's see. Yeah, we'll have it connect here. So we got our cylinder. I wonder what a submarine bay would look like. I want it to look different. So, we'll have it different by splitting this tube into two tubes. There we go. We'll have each come down. Connect to a different building. That way if one of the submarine's battery does some work, I go use the other one. Oh, and the they, gonna be a little person, underwater suit. Having a good time. There we go. Yeah, let's make the submarine bay big. We'll go off the paper with this one. That's how big it is. There we go. So bring this down. So that's going to be the inside of the bay. Not bad so far. Yeah, so because this is lower than kind of the center, go ahead and make some rocks and a cliff. There we go. Nice. Add another cliff down here. Make that a scary place to go. All right, so that we've got our layout, we can go in with our eraser and go ahead and erase some of our guidelines, make it clear. So I'm going to go through, just slightly erase the inside lines. That way we're only seeing the surface of the shapes close to us. And hopefully that'll make it look easier to see, easier to understand. So that looks much more solid because there aren't any lines going through it. Do the same back here. What I like about pencil is if you make a mistake, you can erase it and come back. Nice. Yeah, we'll add some finishing touches, add some more details, maybe a little shading, and we're done. Yeah, let's add like windows. What good is it being underwater if you can't see underwater? Gotta have the windows. Make them round windows too, to be different. Oh, yeah, we could use a submarine here too. So we'll start with an oval, so it can move through the water pretty good. And I want to have this, not flat, so I'm going to put some guidelines on it to kind of show its shape. So I want this to kind of look like a football. There we go. And if these don't look good as part of the design, I can erase them later. So we've got our football. And I want to add another football on the side. We'll make that an engine. Have the other one peeking out at this side. And bubbles coming out the back. That way you know it's going. Let's see. Let's go ahead and erase some of these. So I want to put the cockpit on there. So we'll put a nice big canopy on there. That way people can see out of it. We'll put a propeller in here so people know how it goes. And we'll fill in the canopy a little bit. And I call it the beluga. There we go. And some bubbles from him. Yeah, let's see what else we can do. Put like a floor inside that sphere. Maybe put some computers. On the stone we'll put a floor, like some trees. It'd be nice to go and have air to breathe down here. Put some more windows. Move these in. Get some more ribs on these. Keep it strong. That should be a little transparent. Yeah, so the glass stuff we can see through, like the tubes and whatnot, but there we go. Nice. We'll go over here, put the little doors. Make the doors really big. Put another set on this side. Then we'll put some more windows down here. Then we can draw a submarine inside through the windows. We'll do another beluga in there. So I'll start with that oval for the engine. And another big oval for the ship. So we can see part of it. And the back wall. There we go. I'm not sure these are clear as doors, so we're gonna add in some more details. Make them a little thick. Add some tabs here. And add ribs. We'll put little X's on them too. Don't land here. It's a door. Oh, we can do this better. There we go. By putting that guideline down, I can do lots of X's and they'll all line up. Turn that, make it a little easier. Nice. We'll do the same for the other side. Those will be harder to read though, because they're farther away. And tilted away from us. Ooh, we could put little lights. Little warning lights. Nice. Let's go back over here. And so the idea is you can make complex stuff out of simple shapes. And using the simple shapes makes it a lot easier to get it to look the way you want before you put in a lot of detail. Because like there are times where if I don't put out the shapes first, I'll do a lot of work, a lot of detail, and then it won't look right and I'll be sad. So I can save myself some time by putting in the shapes first and then building from there. Put one big window here and a door. It's a submarine door, so it has a wheel on it. There we go. So we'll put an air conditioner up here in case it gets too hot. These hallways need something. With some tiny cylinders, we can put little pipes along the side of this one. That'll make it a little more interesting. We can have the pipes go different directions too. And let's put a little hatch up here in case you need to get onto the roof. Put circles here for lights, blinky lights. And let's make this guy, let's shade him in because he's concrete and way in the back. There we go. Let's go ahead and add a little shadow underneath the spheres, under the buildings. Yeah, without the shading, everything kind of looks flat because, you know, what we see in everyday life casts shadows. And so if what we're looking at doesn't have shadows, our brain's like, wait, hold on, what's going on here? Let's put those shadows on there. Little shadows down here. Let's see, put little triangles down here. Little symbols and whatnot. We'll make it space. And we'll have lots of lines coming out like a circuit board. Going all over. Oops, those aren't straight. No, this looks fancy and complicated, a little expensive. Put little dots at the end of the terminals. Let's see what goes in the center here. We'll just do more lines. That looks pretty good. We've got some more cylinders. So to show that they're cylinders, we can put a little shadow on the side that's closest to us near the bottom. That tells us that the light's coming either from the top, like straight down, or from this side, because the shadows go on the opposite side of the cylinder from where the light's coming from. And we'll go ahead and just shade in this part too. I'm trying to be very light with my shading because I don't want it to get too strong. Just a nice mild little tone going on here. Nothing crazy. Just something to help tell everything apart. I'll shade this side too. I'll add some shapes to this guy. Oh, it kind of looks like a face. You know, let's add a face. There we go. He's looking right at us, a little nervous. I don't know what he's nervous about. Maybe we'll come up with that later. Maybe he doesn't like being underwater. And when I shade around these shapes, it makes it look like they're glowing. And I always like that when stuff's glowing. So keep that going. Some of that. That's a different kind of shading. It's hard to get my pencil in the right spot, so I try and turn the picture so it's easier for me to do it. Nice. There we go. Inside this building. And this slope part of the building too. I think the doors are a little darker, so I'm going to press a little harder and get a darker shade for them. We'll leave the X's alone so they stand out better. It can be tough to keep the shade the same throughout the large piece, but being careful and taking your time helps. There we go. Same for other side. I'll smooth this one out in here. Add shadows for the buildings. Extend onto the ground. Yeah. Just a little bit, nothing too crazy. Let's see what we got here. Not bad. That's our submarine base. Thanks everyone for coming out today. I had a good time, and I'll be seeing you next week.